in my head, I'm like, I need access to my money because I'm going away. and
Yeah.
and that's what really grinds my gears, because why?
You're not helping me.
Yeah.
What the F? Seriously.
Yeah.
Can I borrow money from you?
Do you want to come with me minus you and plus your money?
$3, please.
What's up, everybody?
My name is Anthony Irvin.
You beat yourself?
Yeah, CB myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Jim Green. Don't even need to hit a fucking traffic light. Okay, good.
Welcome to
One Set.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back for another episode of the One Set Podcast. My name is Anthony Irvin, for anybody who's listening for the first time. I got my buddy, Jim Green, here with us. We are coming off a very cool weekend. I think Jim's got some stuff to talk about his cool weekend. Mine was, decently laid back. Didn't really do much. I mean, it was just more of like a family weekend, and kind of stuck around the house a little bit. So not as exciting as what Jim has been promoting to me that he has some stuff to talk about. So without further ado of me taking up a lot of the time here, bro, how was your weekend?
Okay, so first of all, having a down weekend is not a bad thing. I think you and I both had it last week, and that's why I think on the last episode, we're not even going to bother to ask because we know it was just kind of like chill on both of our ends.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anything majorly planned for this weekend. Next Friday or Saturday, I'm not sure yet. I'll be in Lancaster. One of my kids is competing. They're solo, and then next Sunday evening, I have rehearsal again, which we'll get back to that. So I'm looking forward to having like kind of Zen, because Zencaster weekend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially, jeez. So I had rehearsal with my artist in New Jersey last Thursday, and Cheyenne had expressed that she wanted to come to the show, and I got there and was practicing with my buddy who is my backup or on this particular project, he was my backup dance side by side. And I mentioned it to him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, for sure." Because like I have, she's come and seen me dance before. She's been backstage, and in years past, having performed with this artist, same thing. I've, brought people along, and it wasn't a big deal. And it was like we only had 60 minutes to practice with the artist, which was fine because our set was only like 10 minutes. And when I had met with him the week before that, we had choreographed for a new song that she's promoting. And then when we got to the studio last week, we found out we didn't even have to do that song. So everything that we had to perform, we've already done. So I was like, okay, not even stressed. And my buddy was like, "Are you cool if I like launch you, like the old school step into the hand, and then you get tossed in the air and do a little flip around thing?"
Backflip.
I have not been in the air like that outside. I went to a trampoline park once a couple years ago, with Matt, actually, who I talked about on the last episode. Yeah, so like flipping on the ground, I was like, I've been working out the past couple weeks. I'll be fine. Whatever. So the show was up in New York. So I had to get to my buddy in New Jersey, and rewind. Rewind to the time where I was told that Cheyenne couldn't come, and and that was the manager was like, this venue is just really particular about people being backstage, this, that, and the other. And
I've had things about that too.
And lo and behold, we got to the venue, and the backstage is downstairs underneath the stage in the basement, and the rooms are so small. And they actually had signs up and said, out of respect to everyone, artists only allowed in the changing rooms, because they were trying to eliminate extra people being backstage. And I texted Cheyenne actually immediately when I got the news, because she was planning to come. She wanted to come to the show, and she wanted to see, because I mean, I'm only on stage with her once every year and a half or two. It's real seldom. It's not it's not a frequent enough thing where it's like, hey, yeah, sorry, you got to miss this one. And she's like, okay, I'll catch you in a couple weeks kind of thing. So I understood it from that perspective after the fact. But initially, a few weeks prior, when I told her about the opportunity to do the event, she was like, well, are you planning to stay over overnight? And I was like, well, no, we did a show up in Long Island there 2 years ago, and we didn't get home until 2 a.m. and I got home at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. So I was like, yeah, no, that's not usually a thing. So in the same night that I got told that she couldn't come, my buddy was like, I have a friend in Brooklyn that actually invited us to stay over and crash, if that's cool. And I was just like, stress 101, right? Of course I'd be fine with it. I also told him, I was like, hey, I have rehearsal the next night. So I have work to do the next day.
Yeah.
So I'm crashing for the mere sake of, if you're driving, I'm not going to tell you have to drive me home, and I'm not going to pay for the train ticket to get back to try to catch a ride to get back to Delco.
New York subway, no. I miss me.
Yeah, and not in the evening, because we went on around. We went on between 8 and 9 o'clock. So by the time I was done and would have gotten my stuff and gotten out, I was like, I think I looked ahead. I was like, I think I'd rather crash in Brooklyn, which was close. It was 20 minutes from where we performed. And then we just got up early, and I got home at 1 o'clock. I cleaned up around the house a little bit because parents were away. And then I had rehearsal. And my one project for that rehearsal, I knew I knew that we were going to just basically play around with some of the formation moving around, which you can really not only do in person on the spot, but it was that said partner's idea. So I was like, okay, let's run with it. My other group is younger, so I actually I know I've talked on here about creating on the spot. I like creating on the spot for the younger ones because I don't overthink it. I don't overcomplicate it. And that worked out. The third project that I had, I prepared for right over there, 10 feet, not even over here. an hour before I had to go to rehearsal, and my partner for that it was dealing with some health issues. She told me, I know it's your turn to teach tonight, but no, I'm not like physically capable of doing much, so I'm probably just going to sit there. And then she wound up having to call out. So shout out to her. I'm not going to name drop her because we don't like to do that, and it's it's not appropriate. But her and I were on the phone for like an hour today, prepping for the next rehearsal that we have in a couple weeks, prepping concepts, ideas, and that was the mix that I had to work on. That took me. I was like, it's probably going to take me. I sat down at like 8:30 and was like, all right, I need to lock into this and try to figure this out. It took me about hour 15, hour and a half. I had some complications getting the music ripped off of YouTube because I do that because they have a sound engineer hired that's like, hey, where do you get your content from? And then he just makes it clean. Like he cleans it up for us. And then like, cause a couple of the songs we're using are from like the music video version. So they're not like available for purchase on iTunes because they're not available like that. Right. You were going to say,
because when you're doing your music, you're just clipping, this song, and you're clipping parts from the song. You're not necessarily, or are you doing like multiple songs? So sometimes I know from when I think some stuff that you've done before, like you're usually taking, more than one song and clipping it into like a 5 to 6 minute, mix. So, is this song like just one song in particular that you're cutting parts into, or is it like one or two songs that you're working with and clipping it together?
So I'm going to do a little briefing, and I'm going to take you, because this is going to post on Friday, so this is going to be a flashback for some of you that are paying attention. When we learned how to write essays, you had an intro and 3 body paragraphs and a conclusion. So with this particular company, we have 5 minutes for a routine, which is great because for dance studios, for recital pieces, for competition pieces, it's usually half of that. So we get a lot of time, which is awesome, because we can use 5 songs and we can use on average a minute per song. So you don't feel like any song is necessarily rushed in and out of. You can utilize the best content of each song, right? So, oh man. Okay. Yep. Gonna say it because don't have a huge audience, and by the time anyone probably hears this, I won't get in trouble for it. So, doing we're doing a piece. My partner and I, again, not gonna name drop her. And it's my first time working with her, and we are very alike. My alarm's going off about that thing, but I'm in the middle of something, so I'm gonna hit snooze and get back to it in 5 minutes and talk about that.
There you go.
Okay?
That good old snooze button.
Yeah. So amidst chatting with her on the phone today, she was like, "Oh my God, I'm the same. Oh, same. I was like, cool. We're very on same wavelengths. Same. Yeah. So we're doing a mix that's all Busta Rhymes songs, right?
Nice.
Which, like, amazing. Like, love it. But the spin that I wanted, like, that I had proposition to, because she was like, what if we do Busta Rhymes? And I was like, rhymes. And I was like, what if we do a Busta Rhyme mix, but we we throw Dr. Seuss in it. So we're incorporating Dr. Seuss characters across the piece because rhyme.
Rhyme.
So one song's going to highlight the Grinch. One song's going to highlight Sam Am I. I forget which one it is. One song's going to be Thing 1, Thing 2. And then one song is going to be Cat in the Hat. And then the fifth song is going to be just everyone all together. So it's not just, hey, here's an artist and do their music. I wanted to like be a little bit more outside the box and get creative around it.
I like it.
Yeah, it's I have a Mariah Carey piece and then I have a birthday party piece. They're all real different, and all of my partners are real different that I work with, and super talented, all three of them. I mean, everyone that works for this particular company is really, really good, and I am proud to be a part. So yeah, there's that. This flip thing we should get back to before my alarm goes off, and I'll talk about that thing. So got to the venue in New York, and like wow, name dropped him. Okay, where are we at here? Because trying to be discreet.
We'll exit out. That's fine.
Yeah, I got it. Okay. It was before the house started filling up. Like, barely anyone was in their seats, and he was like, you should let me flip you once before we do the show. And I was like, yeah, you're right. You should do it once, because in case I bomb.
Right.
Which, I mean, he launched me, and he's strong. Like, it wasn't a matter of I was nervous about his upper body strength or his strength overall. I was just nervous because I haven't been in the air upside down since Talladega Nights came out. And I was like, I'm upside down in the air. This is not good. So
help me, Tom Cruise.
So I was pretty nervous. I was fine in the practice, except for I landed dead on my...
I would agree with it, though, because you don't want to go into it, like, raw in the moment, because then that's what, like, if you don't have, like, a time to practice it, to kind of just get the bearing of it, because, like you said, you hadn't, done that move in a while, so you kind of want to get the muscle memory to kind of do it. So then when you do it in the real thing, you're like, okay, I've already done this. I landed it. Cool. So you get that like first little jitter out,
Yeah. So I was confident because I went in the air and I was fine. I didn't like die or anything, but I landed really hard on the backside of my heel to the point where like I had trouble bearing weight on my heel and walking. And I'm like, I have to dance. Oh, alarm again. Snooze. Okay.
Snooze.
So I was backstage anxious about this thing, which granted happened within like it was slated or choreographed to be within the first 15 seconds of like running out on stage. So at least after it, I was like, everything else is fine. Like I've done all of this choreography before. And I'll be all right.
Right.
So I'm standing back in the wing trying to amp myself up like, oh, here we go. And I get, hey, buddy, right? Because the guy that was in charge of the sound and lights, instead of him being like in the back of the house and looking at the stage dead on, was in the wing. So they were like,
wow,
you're in his way and you have to move. And I'm like, this is where I'm supposed to be. It's fine. But whatever. And like we were scheduled to go on.
Come on, Jack.
come on, biscuit.
Biscuit.
Biscuit. Yeah, we were scheduled to go on at some certain time, and it was easily 10, 15 minutes after. I'm like, come on, I'm back here anxious. I want to get on stage. So I think I was just in my head about the thing.
Right.
So the music starts for the intro, and me and my buddy that are doing the backup dancing, we run out and we do the first 3-4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, and a 4, and 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I turn the other way. I turn back and look at him, and I'm like, all right, this is happening. Whatever. And I place my foot in his hands, and I jump. I go airborne, and I hear the audience go, whoa. Because I didn't get the height that I needed, so I had to put my hands down.
Right.
To recover, which fortunately,
right.
Like when I was telling you, at least I didn't because I told you I bombed. I texted you. I was like, "Yeah, man, I bombed on stage," and you were, and you were like, "What?"
Because it's rare that I hear you say that. Because not that I thought you were joking, but I thought you when you said that, oh, it was just the bomb. I thought it was just like the whole set in general. But so like, when did you get the flip, or did you only get half, and that's what you were using your hands to catch your fall or something?
So on the rotation, I made it like 90% of the way around, and realized I was so close to the 4 that I had to put my hands down to save myself.
Okay, so your hands hit the floor before your feet did.
Yeah, not like
in a way. Gotcha.
Yeah, no, they definitely did, and it's funny, not funny, but I had one of my soloists from Maryland had competed that same morning, and my older sister was there watching, and Cheyenne was actually there with her. Because once she found out that she couldn't come up to the show in New York, she wound up going with Kim to the competition. So,
right, yeah, I saw they were together. That was cool.
Yeah, I was chatting on the phone with them on my way to my backup dance friend, whose name I mentioned 6 minutes ago. Which, whoopsie, X that one out. Yeah. Cheyenne was saying, like, the solo is awesome. I'm like obsessed with it. She was supposed to do a round off back tuck. She didn't get the height that she needed and wound up putting her hands down. And I'm on the phone with them, and this is 6 to 8 hours before I was on stage, and the same thing happened to me. And I was just like, we're all human. Things happen. Like, it's not the end of the world. You just got to recover and move on. Right.
Yeah.
And then that happened to me, and I had to dance on stage for the next 10 minutes and feel like, oh God, I really bombed there. But I remembered the rest of the choreography. I was fine there. I was a little winded because I am just starting to get back into shape. Snooze again. So I feel like my body was like a little fatigued. I also had mentioned that I didn't sleep great for 2 nights in a row earlier in the week, and I think that was still catching up to me later on. But yeah, again, I didn't like go for the flip and like crash and burn. Like, I wasn't on my back. It's not like I couldn't get up, or like I had sprained my ankle and I couldn't do the choreography for, like, it could have been worse. So I was
right. At least you were able to finish the set. That's good.
Yeah, for sure. I just felt silly either for not saying, yeah, no, I'm not doing that because I haven't done it in at least 5 years, or felt silly because I feel like I should still be able to do it and just didn't pull it off, so.
Well, here's the question then. If given the second opportunity in the same situation, would you have still said yes, or would you have thought about it and said no?
I think I'd still go for it again. Like that, and that was the thing is I was like, I don't want to
Whoopsie.
out, and say, yeah, hey, we got to take that out. I think in like given that same situation, I'd still say I'm gonna go for it, and if I mess it up, I mess it up, or if
Because
I
you know what you had. Because you know what you had.
CCH,
If people are listening, if people were listening to the last episode, Jim was in tune with his CCH levels, his cockiness, his what was the second one?
confidence.
Confidence and humbleness. He had all three of those in the right. And even though you probably were doubting, you knew, hey, you're like, you have to get in that mindset to be like, even though I haven't done it, I've done it before. You just got to pump yourself up like you were backstage. Like, all right, come on, like you vision yourself doing it. You're everything. You're ready. Let's go. And then that DB was saying like, oh, well, I'm supposed to be here. Like, no, you're supposed to be doing sound.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get on stage to do my thing, messing up my mojo.
Get the
Whoopsie
over there and do what you need to do, and let me stand here and do what I need to do before I go do what I need to do and help make the money for all of us, make this world go around. Okay,
Right.
so
get out of the way, Fogel. But no, so that's a perfect example of being in tune with your CCH levels.
yeah, and again, and I am saying like looking back, because yeah, my heel is still not great. I still am favoring the ball of my right foot, like leading on my toes instead of leading with my heel while I walk. But I know
that does hurt, especially when you bruise that part. It definitely hurts.
Yeah, I know my answer would almost 100% be different if I like broke my foot, sprained my ankle, like tweaked my knee, like.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
I think most importantly, I was nervous going into it on stage because of what happened when we prepped and when we practiced is when I bruised my heel. So I think when I went in, and I want to pull the trigger on jumping, I was just I was nervous about jumping too high and hurting myself to that extent and not being able to carry myself through the remainder of my job, the backup performance. Like, so
yeah, of course,
so
because you didn't want to land back on that heel and injure it more, then you wouldn't be able to God forbid finish the rest of the job. So
yeah, I think that's why I was apprehensive and underthrew it, because I didn't want to land, because landing on the heel after the flip means I torqued enough, and I just didn't I didn't recover on my feet correctly because I haven't done it in 4 or 5 years. I don't know. It's been I couldn't even tell you the last time I did a back tuck in the air. Oh.
Yeah, I think the last time I did that was on a trampoline, so it's been a while too.
Yeah, relaxation days.
Relaxation.
Yeah. So what's real cool is Thursday, and I'm gonna backtrack to this thing because I set my alarm specifically to talk about this. So awesome. I want to talk about what really grinds my gears real quick, and that's going to be this week's little segment, little nod to the Family Guy movie. So I have lost my wallet at least 5 to 12 times in my adult life. I had this particular debit card of mine for a long time, to the point where like the chip is stopping to read, the magnet stripe is weak.
Yeah.
So I was getting emails like, hey, your card's expiring in April, like coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And in my head, I'm running it and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I've had this card for this long.
Yeah.
Don't you
I
know?
just got a new card for the same reason because my swipe thing wasn't working because there was like in the black portion, I think there was like a tear in the actual
Scratches and
portion. So
stuff.
so it would no longer swipe, and I was only able to use the chip. And some portions when you can't use the chip on certain things, you're only swiping. And when I rarely carry around cash every once in a while.
I hate it.
I had to eventually just get it. I eventually had to get it upgraded, so now I can use that plus the chip. And I've been a big advocator of using the tap function now, which I really am mad that I didn't utilize it more during the beginning of the pandemic, because I really didn't know that my card could do the tap function. I could have saved myself a lot from touching different surfaces from just using the tap function. So I was like, wow, I could have probably saved myself a lot of time not touching different surfaces with just using the tap function. But now, if I know the little machines at the checkouts have the tap function, I'll usually use that before even like the swipe and the chip now.
I've never had. People have asked me, "Oh, can you just tap?" And I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, I take my card and
He's like tap the screen, like tap tap tap.
I do this, and I'm like, and it's like, yeah, no, CB,
Right.
and I'm like, guess not. Can I use the chip? Can I use the swipe? Or are you going to tell me my card just doesn't work anymore? Like, which is it?
Right. Like, well,
so
try the chip again. It's saying deactivated. Can you try the swipe? Oh, well, now it's not working. It's saying deactivated. Well, I just got it yesterday. Well, I don't know. Maybe just try to wipe it off. Like, really?
yeah, you got anything else? No,
Whoopsie.
I don't.
No, I don't. I guess I'm taking back this water and my cookie. And I'm paying with my debit card.
Your water and cookie?
Because I don't carry around cash. It's a weird combo, I know.
No, you're not saying that like you actually eat cookies with water, right? I'm just checking.
No, that's disgusting. That's disgusting. What
Okay,
kind of human
thank
are
you. No, that's why I was asking you. Okay.
Cookies and water. Oof. Ain't that the diet?
Yikes. Wow. I saw this one TikTok that was this girl, and she was like, here's what I got at McDonald's. And it was like Big Mac, nuggets, fries, McFish, 2 cheeseburgers, and she's eating them right on camera, and she's like, oh, but I also got a water for balance. And I was like, no, that's not how that works. That's not how that works at all. But I think that was the point.
Balance.
Yeah, balance. CCH levels, right?
Yeah.
So about this debit card of mine that I was like, wow, I'm really proud that I didn't lose this yet. Yeah. So I was going away this past weekend and prepping, like getting my things together, and I'm like, oh, where's my debit card? So this was 2 days before that I noticed that I had misplaced it. I don't know where it went. And I'm like, there's 2 places it went. Or 3, I should say 3. 1, in the sleeve where I normally keep it in my wallet. 2, I put it in a jacket or pant pocket, which I had checked. Or 3, it fell somewhere and it was actively lost, right? So I'm sitting in the car at the bank. I'm actually texting you, sitting outside the bank like, I got to go in and get this new debit card, and I'm not looking forward to it. And foreshadowing, wasn't looking forward to it because I had a feeling It wasn't going to happen. So the last time I went to the bank and had my debit card replaced was pre-COVID, like 4 or 5 years ago. So I go in and I sit down. Granted, there's not. Do you remember when Tom in his specials talking about the guy in the vestibule?
I believe so.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you the clip when we hop off here, and you'll be like, "Oh, yep, that one." So that guy wasn't there. I don't know if he was just off on Fridays or if they were like, "Yeah, well, Tom just called our entire bank out, so we're not doing this person anymore," and just canned them. I don't know. So I went and I found a chair and sat down because I'm not going to the teller. A teller comes over and is like, pardon me. Granted, her customer service presentation, just shout out. I'm not going to name my bank for obvious reasons, but she was great, fantastic. I can't complain about the interaction that I had with her. I can only complain about the outcome, which is once she had me come over to the desk and sit down and say, I explained my situation, and she's like, "Oh yeah, we don't do that on site anymore. Do you have the mobile app?" I was like, yes, I do. So I pulled it up, and she didn't touch my phone, but she was like, just punch here, punch here, punch here. Oh, look, replace card, lost card. And you're all set. You should see it within 10 days. In my head, I'm like, I need access to my money because I'm going away. and that's what really grinds my gears, because why?
You're not helping me.
Yeah.
What the F? Seriously.
Yeah.
Can I borrow money from you? Do you want to come with me minus you and plus your money? $3, please. $3 and a large small Coke.
What a large small Coke. Oh, jeez.
Hold on. That reminds me. I have to set another alarm to make sure I don't forget to mention this one. Hold on. It's different topic. Fast forward a little bit through the weekend, and we'll get back to it. So yeah.
But I had a thing with a bank teller too. I was trying to get money out of my account, and I wasn't aware that, and I won't say how much I was, but I didn't know that they had a limit on how much you can take out from a certain point, because I don't care. I was trying to take out money that I deposited from a check. I didn't know that there was a limit on how much the check you can take out of, and I'm like, why? I mean, it's my money. Give me my money. They're like, well, we can't just give you the money. I'm like, I want my money, man. I'm like, I just gave you the check, so it's just an easy deposit. I give you the check, you give me un monte. And they're like, well, we gotta give a time un monte. And we gotta give it like 2 or 3 business days in order for it to clear. I'm like, well, what does that have to do with anything? And so there was what they were telling me is the amount of money exceeded, I guess, the
limit,
the amount that you can take out of a limit. So they had to clear it in order for me to get it, which I didn't know. So I was like, all right, well, thanks, because it's my money anyway. So I'll see you next Tuesday.
Because you
yeah that
hold on. All right, got it.
Just like ATM fees. There was a comedian that said about ATM fees. It's like, how do we have ATM fees? Basically, an ATM fee is we need some of your money to get some of your money. Like,
Yeah.
how gangster does a bank get by saying we need to take some of your money in order for you to take money from us?
Dude, you don't have to tell me.
Like
'Cause
transaction fee.
yeah, I have a friend who works for TD Bank, who I used to bank with way back when, and they were like America's most convenient bank. Yeah. No, you're not. Sorry. He worked for Chase Bank before that, but he's in like this he's in the marketing. He's a senior marketing advisor for TD. Like, he's pretty high up in the company.
I was gonna say one of the higher ups.
Yeah. Not I mean, there's it's called a hierarchy, right? Like, there's someone here and then
They're
there's people
levels, so,
here.
yeah.
He's not working at he's not a bank teller, and he's not the people that you see at the bank. He's working at a corporate office,
yeah.
okay? So he's
right.
and he's senior, so he's up there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
He broke down to me one time, and I am not name dropping him, and only the people that know who I'm talking about will know who I am talking about. So I hope he doesn't actually kill our friendship over this, but he was like, my job is to make poor people more poor. And he's like, and I hate it and I want to get out of it. And I'm like, that's how do banks exist? How do the people at the banks make money? If it's just, oh, we're protecting your money in your account over here, and it's fine. It's okay.
Right.
No, absolutely not. And
not
that's where
not
that's where my dad earlier, and we're gonna do the March Madness thing, and I'm not even gonna save it for it. I'm just gonna say it here, and maybe I'll repeat it again. He was like, "Did you see those upsets this past weekend?" I was like, no, I was busy doing things, but I know about them because Anthony told me about them. And he was like,
exactly.
He was like, that's the best thing about college sports, is because they're not getting paid anything, and because there's no money involved. It's not scripted. It's not ass backwards screwed up. And he
these guys actually play defense.
Yeah, he thinks that all pro sports are just scripted, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah,
there's definitely money involved, and we can probably talk about that at another time too. But yeah, I mean, especially with the NBA, when it's coming to like difference between NBA and college, especially these days, I feel like, I think the NBA has just gotten a lot lazier with the talent's just gotten a lot lazier, especially I think I've mentioned this on one of the other episodes. Like, the big thing now is like overloading. Like, a lot of guys are taking more games off than what they used to. But then again, they're paying these guys so much money, and they're guaranteeing a lot of this money. So these guys are just saying, hey, I'm just going to take off because I'm guaranteeing the money anyway. So it's like, I think eventually what should be happening, and I know if we're thinking the same person, I'm gonna say him. The guy that's been the biggest advocate of this is Ben Simmons.
There it is, y'all. There it is. That's what we were getting at. There's where we were driving to. Okay.
This guy has been the biggest, and in one way, here we go. Here's one segment for us. This is what really grinds my gears on my level this week.
Perfect. So, yeah, let's talk.
Ben Simmons.
Let's talk about this real quick, okay?
Yeah, let's do it. But this CN. And no, we're CM. We're not talking about clinical nurse people. Although he is a whoopsie. So this dude has been riding the coattails of the fact that, and starting back from the Sixers, he was. It all started, I think, from that playoff game where he was literally looking at the basket, and Trae Young was sitting right there with him. Mind you, Ben Simmons is a lot bigger than Trae Young, and he passed the ball off to somebody because he was afraid to shoot the ball. And I think ever since then, he exposed himself so much. So then he started getting into the fact that, well, I'm not playing. And that whole next year, he was in this fight between, I don't feel comfortable playing, my back hurts, this hurts, I'm not going to play. And he all along, he was still getting paid. And then, long story short, he gets traded to the Brooklyn Nets. Now he's starting to do the same thing with the Brooklyn Nets. My back hurts. I just don't feel like playing. Then again, this guy's getting paid to be sitting out, and then he's blaming a lot of his mental health. Trust me, I'm not nagging anybody with real mental health issues. If Ben Simmons really has mental issues, then it is what it is. But if he's playing the mental health card just to not play and just, bank his money, on one fact, you got to respect his gangster because he's found the best loophole to not play basketball and bank money in. You got to respect that.
Just like those ATMs, right?
Just like those ATMs. We got you, dog. I need about 500 on it. But on the other fact, there's guys in the D League who are killing every day in order to try to get in that league. And you got this dumb whoopsie who doesn't even play the game, and he's banking money. So, and supposedly, I saw in the Facebook world that supposedly Ben Simmons' agent dropped him. Because now he probably figures, hey, you're not making me any money anymore because you're sitting on the bench and not playing. So bye-bye. I'm out of here. I hope at this point they just get him the hell away from basketball.
Yeah, I mean, I would not doubt that, for 1 second, if that was the case, because it seems pretty obvious to everyone that has a brain that he's just playing the card. And again, if it's truly he's going through mental health, do what you got to do to take care of yourself. But it just seemed real weird to the majority of us, because it was probably not, but okay if it, and like you said, real gangster if he played everyone the way he did. But again, if it was for legitimate,
the one side you gotta respect reasons, it. You gotta respect it.
Yeah.
You gotta respect the people that get through the loopholes and are able to make money and not have to do their job. Trump.
There he is. Yeah.
But no, you gotta respect that. But the same thing, it's it just because there's so many people that would die to get in his position to be even suiting up for a game like that. But then he's, just banking his money and making up every excuse not to play now. I love that you just brought up Trump, because that triggered me to remember again what I was talking about with my dad. And same conversation. We were upstairs in my parents' kitchen, and I was talking about how, look, Vince McMahon is apparently back in mild control over some of the creative. Yeah.
And again, just like my dad thinks that sports are scripted, he's like, he never didn't have control. Let's be serious. Come on. Triple H was just covering up for him. He doesn't buy into any of it. He's like, it's all scripted. And he's like, if they sell WWE, you better believe that whoever buys the company off of Vince still has to answer to Vince McMahon, because he'll never sell the company and give away complete ownership of
control.
Of the empire that he built. He's like, you better believe. And he's like, because I was like, yeah, Stephanie McMahon got real smart and resigned. And he's like, no, she didn't. It's part of the script. It's all work.
He basically said, hey, Steph, I got to go downtown for about 5 months. You need to step in my position, and I'll tell you when to scram.
Dude,
because just all of a sudden one day she's like, yeah, I'm just not CEO anymore, and we're like, you can just do it that quick?
Oh yeah, I got to look out for my kids. Oh, what were you doing before this? Not looking after them?
Right. Like, kick my kid to the curb. I got to do daddy's job. Get out of here, son.
Oh, God. What's Shane doing these days? So yeah, anyway, my dad was like, yeah, Trump, Vince, all of the McMahons, they're all phonies. They're all putting on a facade. It's all fake. It's stupid.
I mean,
and he's like, it's
McMahon
just like
has
politics.
To be one of the top 10, most successful entrepreneurs at this point. At least top 10, if not top 5.
Oh, not discounting that ever, but he knows how to work everyone is what it is.
Yeah, that's what I mean too. Like, he's got to be the most like top 10, top 5, entrepreneur minds of our era. So he's gonna be thinking, hey, he's for a guy like that, you always got to be thinking long term, and you're not just going to give 100% control to somebody else. You're going to want to get some type of percentage out of that. Yeah. So, well, I can agree with what your dad said. He's not going to give 100% of the company to somebody. He's going to negotiate to say, hey, you guys do what you want, but I'm going to take a little bit of the residue from it and just let you guys work it. But I'll keep, the residual of the background of what everything's going on.
Yeah, there's no way he's not going to.
So he can still pocket his change for it too.
I think the R word you were looking for was revenue, which is fine.
Revenue, yeah.
And ultimately, my dad said the thing that your dad would say. Oh, yep, and he's laughing his way all the way to the bank. All the
way to the bank.
Yep. And this is where we're like, our dads aren't quite that different.
No. Because, I'm looking forward to us hopefully getting them on for like a Father's Day thing. I think we've been talking about that. I think that'll be a pretty cool episode to get our dads together and have like a little chat for like a Father's Day episode.
And again, even if it's like, hey, put your headphones on. This is going to be pretty cool. And we'll say 5 minutes. And then it'll be like, okay, 5 minutes, setting my alarm. And then their phones are going to die and then they're on for an hour.
Yeah. All right, not going to lie. This is pretty fun. It was pretty fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So did you say this is going up on the internet or something like that? On the Tube?
On the Tube? That's great.
It'll be fun.
I don't know what. Now I'm like, why did I have my alarm set again? Because I had to talk about another thing.
There was something earlier that you reminded yourself that you wanted to talk about, but I'm not sure what it was because you said something popped in your head.
That's
I forget
fine.
what it was I forget what made it pop, but yeah.
And because we didn't label it, I don't remember. But I will talk about this one thing. So I was on stage, and obviously after the flip, I felt like super defeated and really crushed. But my hair was long, and I haven't danced with long hair in a long time. And hairography is a real thing that girls have to deal with if they're dancing with their hair down. Or I shouldn't say girls.
Yeah.
Any gender, if you have long hair, you're navigating this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so backstage after the show, after the fact, I was saying to my buddy, I don't like I part didn't feel good because my hair was just flying everywhere. I thought I could manage it better, and he was like, well, why don't we just cut it? And I was just like, yeah, all right, fine. And we got back to his buddy's place that we stayed at, and his buddy broke out the hair clippers. And I was just like, what? And he was like, yeah, no, you said you wanted to do this, so you're doing it. And I was like, I looked at the both of them. They're like, yeah, sit down.
Go on, sit down, boy.
Yeah, sit down. We're going to take care of you. And I was like, whoa, what? Really? And I was like, all right, this is happening right now. So my hair, I don't know if you can tell with the headphones, but it's so short compared. I gotta tell you, I feel the cool breeze on my neck, and it's so different. And I love it. And I'm like, I think after, I'd say 20 years of having so many different hairstyles, I'm like, I think I might finally settle in and just stick to this one. I mean, it'll get longer and shorter, but yeah, I think this is it. And I think looking back, I think about, consistency, finding balance, and I feel like girls change up their hairstyle so much, and I feel like I'm that like guy that has had so many hairstyles that I'm just like, yeah, no, I think I'm ready to marry up to this one right here. I'm cool.
Right.
So hence Clark Kent, little swoopy swoop. I think this is the one from the alarm. Yeah. This is it. Okay. All right. Here we go. You're gonna love this one, and some people are not gonna like this one. All right.
Juicy.
Yeah. So, haircut commenced. I hopped in the shower. I jumped out. And my buddy, well, I should say my buddy, not the backup dancer, but the person whose place we stayed at. He was like, hey, have you ever seen the show You? Do you know who I'm talking about?
I think it rings a bell. I think I've heard of it.
I'm gonna Google his name, and you're gonna pull him up, and you're gonna be like, oh, and you might see it and be like, yeah, yep.
The title is very familiar.
Hold on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. His name, his name is Penn Badgley. Google him. Pull him up. PENN space. Yes. Do you see him? Okay. Yeah. So my buddy was like, you kind of look like that guy.
And I can see it. I can see where it's coming from.
And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, but that's not, you know, all white people look alike, right? And I was like, wait, y'all say that about me?
I'm honored, bro.
Yeah. Because both of my friends are Filipino Asians that I'm referring to. So to hear that, I was just like, whoa, really? Okay. I'm this white guy with brown hair that's, curly a little bit, and I look like all of these guys. It's fine.
You look like all shades of white.
Yeah, seriously. I'd have to go get roasted to look a little bit Italian or Latin or mixed like you. I don't know. Like, whatever.
Yeah. That we're all the same color on the inside.
Yeah. There's good people and there's bad people. It's not like that, y'all. Yeah. Jeez. So
that was good. All you white people look the same, right?
it was the first time in my life that I heard that, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I got to I got to my one lesson today, and granted, my hair was long the last time I seen them, and they were like, we found your twin. Do you know who he is? And I'm like, is it this guy from You? And they're like, no, it's this guy. And they pull up something from this cowboy show, and I'm like, all right, there's that one. And I'm like, the biggest one that I got is Steve-O when my hair's super short.
Okay.
Apparently, I look just like Steve-O. Probably circa earlier days. Yeah, alarm, you can go off because I told all the white people look the same joke. Okay, I got it. So yeah, dude. Yeah. Had a blast. Other than that flip incident and not feeling great through the performance, the haircut I feel super good about, and got home. I talked about my rehearsals last night, which I powered through and am proud of, and I'm excited to see them come into fruition, which this is getting published on Friday. I believe it is the 25th of March. 24th of March. So the show that we're building for those specific rehearsals are the show's going to be in August. So I'll provide a little bit more detail into that, because it is such a fun show and experience, and there's dancers from different studios in the area, and there's almost a dozen choreographers that are involved in building the production. So more details to come with that one. Yeah, it was just weird because like came home, straightened up a little bit, choreographed, went and did the rehearsal, came home. My baby sister Carly, she's the only one I told about the haircut, and she was like, oh my God, when you get home from rehearsal tonight, you got to let me know when you're coming in so I can like record the reaction. And both my mom and Cheyenne was just like, Cheyenne has been talking about like, she loves this hairstyle on me, and she's like, you look so handsome. And like before that, my hair was like down to here, beard was fully blown in. She was clearly upset she couldn't come, and not happy once I told her that I was staying overnight. Yeah, that wasn't great, and we're not going to get into that one. But she had a fun weekend with my older sister Kim at competition. She told me how my solos went, and she reported in about some other really fun projects that she got to see on stage. So I was like, good, you went and did a you thing, I went and did a me thing. Balance was had. It's weird. CCH levels, right?
CCH levels.
CCH levels. You want to top off on anything before we sign off for this one? We went a little bit longer. Like I said, I had kind of a lot to talk about. So yeah.
Well, one thing that I forgot to mention in the beginning was I finally got to do some vocal tracking on a song that I've been working on the last couple months, and I kind of put it on the back burner last year, and I finally started getting back into it because this past Sunday, again, this is coming out on the 24th. I'm talking about March 18th. It was 1 year ago on that date that I released my single "Dreamers Are Believers." So that sparked me into inspire me to continue to get my next single out here. So I'm hard at work trying to get this song out to everybody. Again, I'm working on older tunes, re-recording them myself, revamping them, giving some new inspiration and light. So this is another tune from one of my older collections that I've been working on, and I'm really digging on how it's turning out. It's getting a whole new full band vibe, and I don't know when it's going to come out because I still have some vocal tracking to do. Then I got to mix and master and everything, and I usually try to just not put a timestamp on it too early until like I am near the end process, and then I can kind of paint a picture of like, okay, I'm kind of in that zone of like, I know it's going to be done within the next couple of weeks. Then I can start planning out to like, okay, I'll release it on this day, and then I have a time to promote it, get everything, all the content ready. So on the music front, I am definitely going to get out another single this year. That's one of my goals, is to at least get another single out. And one thing that we forgot is today, it's Monday the 20th. Happy spring to everybody. We forgot to really mention that.
Yeah, I mean,
no more winter.
Cool. Yeah, so two things about that. One, I was on my way back from rehearsal earlier today. It was like 2:30 in the afternoon, and I'm like, why is Rita's water ice popping off right now? And I'm like, first day of spring, free water ice, and I'm like, oh snap.
Yep, took advantage of that today. So
did you?
Yes. I mean, little guy had a good day at daycare, so we're like, hey, free water ice.
Little
so
treat,
he ended
little
up,
treat for you.
So he ended up tearing up some banana water ice. I went with some chocolate peanut butter water ice, and Jen got mint chocolate chip.
Nice.
So
I haven't gotten.
Yeah, he's a big advocate of water ice and all that stuff now too.
So has he had Dairy Queen yet or no?
Yes, okay. He's had Dairy Queen.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. He loves ice cream.
It's always my favorite asking, and not that it's my business, but I know how my oldest sister Melissa is with her kids and like what they drink, and
yeah,
I don't think they've had juice ever, and they're in like 4th and 6th grade. It's crazy. Not crazy.
Yeah, he's not really a big juice drinker. I mean, we don't even really like. It's not one of his go-tos. He's definitely like a big water drinker. He drinks a lot more water than me and Jen do.
Which is
every once in a while.
Wild, because
and it's great.
As a kid, never for me. I didn't get into water until I think I talked about this in one of the earlier episodes. I didn't get into water until I was regularly doing the dance convention circuit, and I was like, whew, I'm dying and I'm winded, and the only thing available was water over there. So I grab a cup and be like, oh my God, this is so great. Why didn't I?
Refreshing.
Why wasn't I raised on this? Why, Mom and Dad? Why? Why?
Why, Mama? No, I was definitely one of those kids too that like I was always sports drinks, Gatorade, sodas, and stuff as a kid. But like when it came to water, I'm like, it doesn't taste good. Blah blah. It has no taste to it. I was definitely one of those kids. But for him, I mean,
it's bland, right? It's just flat,
right?
And it's
right. But for him, he's definitely never been like a juice drinker. Like he'll have it every once in a blue moon. Like it'll be like his, like, oh, a Sunday dinner. If my dad's usually the one that gives the kids like, oh, you want a juice? Like, yeah, give him a juice or give him a freeze pop or something. Because my dad's like, hey, you don't have to be sleeping with me tonight. They're good. You have to go back to your parents. They can deal with you.
Dude, speaking of water, and to tie it in, because you have your master's in science and relevant to water, right? So you were on 8th grade blue, right? You weren't on gold in 8th grade at Northley, right?
I don't remember which colors I was those 3 years. I couldn't tell you.
Oh,
you have a better memory of that than I do.
It's funny you mention that, because I dropped years of, oh, this happened here over the weekend, and people looked at me and they were like, you remember that? And even my buddy, not going to say his name, that back up with me, turned to our friend who we stayed at, and he was like, yeah, he's a wizard for chronological order. And a lot of that, which I mentioned in one of the earlier episodes, one of the first episodes, is I associated, that's not far off, associated certain life events with where my dance life was. And that's when people talk about like, oh, you dance, I'm like, yeah. And I talk about, oh yeah, it's my life. It's not like just a random thing I do. I encompass like my life events with it. So when I say, oh yeah, this happened here because these were the events that or not the events, these are the routines that I worked on this year. And people are like, you remember that? And I'm like, yeah, I do. Because
you've always been a real big person for attention to detail and like you said, like chronological order and like very big on attention to detail.
Yeah. And I find that as I'm getting older, it's starting to wear down a little bit. So I'm trying to hang on to it too. Because it's something I've always.
If only there was a pill.
It's something I've always been really proud of, that I can look back and be like, oh yeah, hey, if you've ever read the book The Giver, yeah, I want to be that guy that can say, oh yeah, you did this over here, you did this over here, you did this over here, and people would be like, how do you even? And I'm like, don't ask me how. Just live with it. It's cool. I got you.
Right.
So yeah. Wow. I gotta finish that story that I started before I asked you what team you were on. So I was in 8th grade science, and this was before they wanted to advance me into honors because of my math skill. And I was taking like, oh God, we were learning periodic table for the first time. And we took this test, and I'm talking about this specifically, and this is very relevant to what we're talking about. This is triggering me to remember this memory, which I haven't thought about in forever. Okay. So my teacher, not going to mention his name, he was allergic to deodorant. So people always made fun of him because he smelled. But it was something he couldn't help. And it's like, come on, man. Like, but as middle school kids, like, you don't give nobody a break, right? Because you're a little
whoopsie. No.
You're a little
whoopsie.
Honestly. So the question on the test that I remember specifically, and hold on, because I'm just trying to timestamp little
whoopsie
part so that you can scribble that out. Because that's a me thing that I'm responsible for, and I'm like, I need a second monitor to be able to do that.
Once we blow up, we'll have those second monitors and everything, like a full thing that we can control all that.
I'll have 3 monitors set up, and I'll be like, you're over here, you're in the middle. I have this detail over here, video footage over here, and notes over here. Like we'll make it happen. It's going to happen. So the question on the test, on the test, wow, you might want to post this. If you have a glass of water with ice in it and the ice melts, does the water level stay the same or increase? And
that's a good question.
That was the one I got wrong, because I was like, oh, if it melts, it's going to increase. And it's like, nope, stays the same because of the form of the matter. It just consolidates, it condenses, and it evens out. And it's one of the things that have baffled me about science for 20 plus years now. And if I still remember that, it's for a reason. Because I sat there in that class, and so we would take the test and we would submit the test, and we'd sit there and get trolled by the teacher because he'd go through the answers after we handed in a test, and we'd all sit there and be like, "Oh, what the whoopsie!" Like when we were wrong.
Yeah. And then everybody be like, "Oh, I got that wrong too."
Yeah. That was. I mean, oh geez, that was the biggest wow factor moment for me, because if I remember that 20 plus years later, I'm like, geez. And to be fair, in the event that the teacher ever sees this, I can't tell you if he's around or not anymore. He was so stoic and just straightforward. He showed up, he did his job, he educated the kids. He didn't have interpersonal interaction, which I guess people will say, "Oh, that's not cool." No. He did his job. He taught. He just didn't engage on that level. So I think kids our age in middle school were just like, we just sat there in the class and we were like, okay, this is class. It's like your 8th grade teacher, who I remember who he is, and I'm not going to name drop him right on here, but his wife was a 6th grade science teacher. Hint, hint. Only because I have a photographic memory of walking past you in the hallway, and you were in his class, and you were just tilted back in your chair like, yeah, this is... I'm not going to tilt back because, 1, I can't. 2, I don't want these legs to sweep out under me and me break myself. But dude, I remember you being like tilted on this angle and walking past me like, I guess he's learning today.
But yeah, he was a cool teacher. I definitely, liked him as a teacher. And if it's the same teacher we're thinking, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah,
he was one that
he was definitely really cool.
He was one that I was jealous that you had in 8th grade that I didn't have on blue team. And there was
he was definitely one of those teachers that like was okay with, not necessarily trying to be friends with the students, but like gaining that respect and having a friendly relationship with his students and trying to, connect with them on a level instead of like, but he still had his times where like, hey, when we're in class, this is, time to learn, no BS. But like, if you see me outside of class, hey, I'll crack a joke with you. I'll do this, I'll do that, whatever. But when you're in my class, we'll do this and that. But hey, when we're down for business.
You're talking about 2 different guys. And we're going to talk about this because we're going to wrap up in a second. Okay.
Yeah. We'll get that on another episode.
You're talking about one other guy who was like the most popular teacher in the school. I'm talking about a different guy.
Okay.
They were both married to other
we'll
teachers.
Talk about it on Patreon.
Patreon /OneSetPod, right? Find us.
Yeah. Because we're going to start putting out more content. We just opened it, and if people are watching at this remainder of the show, thank you guys. But yeah, we're going to start adding content because we don't want to just start promoting it with nothing on there. So we're going to start thinking of some things to just post on there. We have something that we're going to be working on after this episode, and that will probably be posted maybe later this week. And if you're watching now, it's most likely already on there. So if you want, go into the link in the description. And if you guys want to see some extra content that doesn't make the public, check out the tiers. We have some 3 pretty fun tiers that we kind of discussed. And if you guys have anything that you would want as a tier of like for an idea, let us know, because this is still in the building process. So we're definitely going to be starting to add a little more extra content exclusively on Patreon. So definitely check that out.
Absolutely. Dude, wow. We were not planning on going this long for this episode. And maybe some things are going to get gutted. We'll see. But, dude, I have way more that I would love to talk about. I mean, the weekend gist of the stuff I basically covered. But I definitely want to dive into a little bit more of some of the stuff. So if anyone wants to hear more about that, Patreon, definitely hit us up. And again,
Patreon.
like Anthony said, if there's anything you want us to dive into, either let us know in the comments, reach out to us, onsetpod@gmail.com. I think, I shouldn't say I think. So when we were writing essays in high school, just quick and not to tangent off too far, we were told not to ever say I think. It's like, no, duh, you think, you're writing it, right? So
right.
some of the dance content I would love to put on the Patreon and just be like, even if it's just short snippets
Absolutely.
here and there, and say, this is where my brain is this week. I'm in this vibe, in this genre. Perfect. Yeah, definitely. I would love to do that.
Definitely. And I would like to do the same thing with my music. I can always, throw some, behind the scenes music stuff on there too that I don't really throw out there to the public on my music stuff. So maybe we can throw up a tier for like music and dance, like whenever we have like a snippet of like you making up some routines or whatever, or something on the fly with you, or if I'm working on a project or something and we just throw up something that we're working on to just show the exclusive Patreon community, that private community, that'll be cool. So again, the options are wide open with what we are coming up with on the Patreon. So we'd love to have you guys there.
Absolutely. Anthony, anything else before we wrap up this one?
I think that is all, brother. I think, we definitely, it's been a little bit because we didn't really talk too much over the weekend. You had a overall long weekend. I had my moments too. So it was good to always wrap up and, talk about our daily lives. So thank you all for joining in on another episode. This has been One Set. Again, my name is Anthony Irvin. I'm here with my boy, Jim Green. We'll see you on another episode, guys. Thank you. Love you guys.
All the love. Thank you all.